students, welcome to the English class of Studyzest, the world of educational solutions. Today I will be discussing the poem The Patriot by the very famous poet of Victorian era, Sir Robert Browning. Okay, it is included in your grade 10 syllabus of ICSE. Now this poem has many deep implications, so we must go through the poem very carefully while enjoying the poem, and I will try my best to make it as simple as I can to you. But before beginning the poem, I would like to remind you of the social media platforms through which you can connect with us. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you can get quickly notified whenever a new video comes up. Like us on Facebook for daily updated study materials. Join our Telegram channel. You can use this link to find us there. Follow us on Instagram and join our WhatsApp group using this number given here. And for more information, you can log in to the website www.studyzest.in. As you can see here, our YouTube channel looks like this. Do subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon Studyzest Academy, and show us some encouragement, and we will come up with videos, study related materials on regular basis. And this is how our Facebook page looks like. Show us some love there and you will get daily updated academic materials on our Facebook page. Now let us moving on to today's class. This poem Patriot is a very important poem in connection to the career of Robert Browning. Okay, now as I always say that whenever you are reading a poem, just consider this, that you must know something about the poet. Okay, because unless you know what the poet thought about, unless you know how the poet thought, you will not get the fair enough idea about the message of the poem you are about to read. Okay, so here we have the poet Robert Browning. Robert Browning, born in the year 1812 and died in the year 1889, and he was born on May the 7th in Camberwell near London. Okay, so he was an English poet. He had little of formal education but learned a great deal in his father's substantial library. A very interesting fact about the poet, that he never had the formal education, the school education per se, but he loved to read. Okay, so he used to go to his father's library, take up books and read, and that's how he gained so much knowledge as to become a great poem later in his career. Okay, and he was vastly influenced by reading. Okay, then in 1854 Browning noticed a compliment to himself in a poem by Elizabeth Barrett, who was a poem in Florence in Italy, where they lived until Elizabeth's death in 1861. Okay, so here we have one thing, that the poet Robert Browning married Elizabeth Barrett, and together they moved to Italy, where they lived the rest of their lives. Okay, and Browning wrote both poems and plays, and the main popularity of Browning remains in his dramatic monologues. The poem that we are going to read today is itself a dramatic monologue. Okay, so this is very important to know, that what is a dramatic monologue. within, not merely to depict them from without. This means that he was a very good observer of character. Every character he writes about are very well written characters. Okay, when you read about them, you could actually sympathize with the character. Okay, so this was the beauty of Browning's poem. He was gifted with wonderful insight, sympathy, and extraordinary power of observation and psychological penetration. That means he had very good knowledge of human psychology, and he was a sympathetic poet with a very good insight into human character. Okay, and his last volume of poetry was named Asolando, which was published on the day of his death, that is in the year 1889. Okay, so this was a brief introduction about the poet. Now moving on to the introduction to the poetry that we are going to read today. The poetry here that we have named is The Patriot. Okay, the poem is a dramatic monologue. This is the most important thing that we get to know about the poem when we are getting introduced to the poetry. Okay, so as you can see here, it is in the introduction, it is the first point that is mentioned, that it is a dramatic monologue. What is a dramatic monologue? Now, dramatic monologue is something that is the speaker talks to himself. Okay, the speaker here is talking to himself. That means the narrator here, the narrator of the poem is the main speaker. He is talking, the whole poetry is from his point of view. Okay, the poetry is from his point of view. His point of view. And we get to know what he feels, okay, about anything that he's seeing in front of him, about anything that he's experiencing. Okay, so what do we have here? Mainly in dramatic monologues, we have the narrator speaking with himself in most cases, and with that we get to know about the mind of the speaker. Okay, and here there is no second person. Okay, the main person here, the main speaker here is the narrator himself. In this case, it is the patriot on whom the poem is based upon. Okay, now let us move on. The speaker recalls his heroic achievements a year ago. So we know that there was a patriot who had done some very great things, very good heroic achievement, or very heroic activities a year ago. But just a year after that, he had fallen from his reputation. Okay, he has fallen from his esteem. That means whatever he had done, the heroic activities are now kind of faded away. Now he is arrested. He has done something maybe, and now he is arrested and being led to the gallows. What is gallows? Gallows means a kind of, imagine this, there is a kind of a stage on which people were executed in the Victorian age. So this poem was written in the 19th century, that is the Victorian age in England. Okay, so in this age it was very common to see that any person, any soldier who has done something wrong was sentenced to death. Now this public execution that is being given to the patriot is something which goes even back. What I mean to say here is that this poem was written in the 19th century. Okay, but the poet here is talking about even before that time period, okay, when actually public execution were done. Here the gallows is somewhere public executions were done. What is the